Your avoidant ex ghosted you 3 months ago. Then last night at 2 a.m., they watched every single one of your stories. Here's the thing. This isn't random avoidant chaos. There's actually fascinating science behind why avoidants disappear and then slide back into your life. And once you understand the psychology behind it, then their strange behavior finally makes sense. Now, I'm about to show you the 3 stages most avoidants go through when they're considering coming back. And this is based on 40 years of attachment research, which means you can finally stop driving yourself crazy trying to decode their mixed signals and really start to understand what's going on. Right now, let's dive in with stage 1. We're going to call it the emotional shutdown stage. And this is the core concept everything else builds on. When an avoidant pulls back, it feels personal, like they're punishing you or playing games. But here's what's actually happening in their mind. Their subconscious fears about love are kicking in. And what that means is this. If you're an avoidant, you begin to sense this relationship growing stronger. Then you find yourself shutting down any thoughts or suppressing any emotions you once felt until you begin to feel safe again. Now stay with me here, because it's not that they don't care about you. It's just their way of coping with that subconscious fear. So what we're really talking about here is this. There's a part of them that thinks if I just push those painful feelings away, then maybe I won't get hurt. Now it's easy to overlook this, but they really don't know why they're doing it. And they're not necessarily trying to hurt you either. They're just trying to protect themselves from something that is starting to feel dangerous to them. Think of it this way. If you're afraid of heights, then you don't get close to the edge of a cliff. And that's how love feels to an avoidant. And what that means for you is this. The closer you get, the more dangerous it feels for them. And the more dangerous it feels for them, the more they want to run away. And I know what you're thinking. You're looking back at the past and saying, we were so happy together. Why would anyone run from anything that feels this good? If this sounds real to you, if this sounds truly like your situation now, then let me know in the comments, because I know this stage can be brutal for you. And the reason I say that is because while they're shutting down and pulling away, you're left with unanswered text, no closure, and that voice in your head asking, what did I do wrong? Now, I want to slow down here because this really matters. If you're in this stage right now and your ex is an avoidant, then know this. First of all, you did not cause them to leave. Second, avoidants shut down because of their limited emotional capacity, not because you weren't good enough for them. Now, you're going to see that here as we talk about avoidance in stage 2, because this is where it really gets interesting. If you have an avoidant attachment style, then after a few weeks or months of complete no contact, you begin to notice something shifting inside of you. It's like a quiet feeling that something is starting to change, even if you don't know what that is. Now, here's where the deeper story begins to unfold, because what's really happening in stage 2 is this. The feelings they tried to outrun, to push aside, to suppress, they don't just disappear. They're still there, quietly lingering beneath the surface. And little by little, if you've been in no contact, they begin to find the pain of being apart is starting to outweigh the fear of reaching out. Now, what that really means for you is this. There's a part of them that will start to remember how safe it feels with you. how you never judged their awkwardness, or maybe how you made them feel so good when they were stressed or had a bad day. And that part of them will truly begin to miss this connection you share. Now, this is the piece that holds the key to everything. Even if there's a part of them that is starting to miss you, they're still terrified of needing you. And because of that, they will only reach out in the safest way possible for them. And the safest way possible for them to reach out is by being indirect. And as a result of them being indirect, you're stuck with what feels like mixed signals. And these indirect mixed signals are going to create a hot and cold pattern, this push and pull dance between the two of you, where they text, then disappear for days. They seem interested, then they pull away when you respond. They hint at wanting to see you, then make excuses or completely ghost you. Now it starts so small that you might miss it at first. They view your stories, they ask mutual friends about you, or they reach out with something random like, hey, I think I left my phone charger at your place. But it always ends the same. When you start responding, they eventually disappear. This is why chasing them during this phase backfires. You're basically asking someone who is scared of heights to come closer to the edge of the cliff. And they're not going to do it. They're going to back away. So the story up to this point goes like this. They withdraw to feel safe, only to realize that distance brings its own kind of pain. And so they reach back out to feel the connection. But when the connection starts to feel like a threat again, they disappear. Now, if you've experienced this push-pull and you need support doing no contact, then get my no contact survival kit, because it will help you get through this. But right now, let's talk about stage 3. The, oh wait, I actually need this person moment. Now, this is where everything changes, but only if they're brave enough to let it happen. Because sometimes something powerful occurs. That part of an avoidant that craves this connection becomes stronger than the part that fears it. Basically, this means they stop treating you and the relationship like a potential threat and start seeing this as a place of emotional safety. Now, this is the part that is often misunderstood, but it's crucial to understand. So let's take a moment and really unpack it. Avoidants act on a powerful subconscious belief that getting too close to someone is dangerous. But when a relationship consistently feels non-judgmental, emotionally predictable, and low pressure, then their brain stops treating connection as a threat, which basically means they finally feel like you're safe to be with. Now, here's where things usually fall apart for most people. This is not them suddenly becoming a different person. This is not them being cured of avoidance. This is just them starting to feel safe enough with you specifically to lower their defenses. It's as if you've earned special, temporary access to their emotional world. Think of it like this. They're still scared of heights, but they trust you just enough to hold their hand while they look over the edge. Now, before we talk about how they can change, let's zoom out and I'll show you the big picture and how all this fits together. Here's the story. You meet someone, and in the beginning, it's easy. Something just clicks and you feel this real connection between you. You think, I finally found someone who gets me. And so every day you're supportive, you're there for them emotionally, and there's just this feeling of love growing between you. Now, because that feeling is growing stronger, You're really starting to feel good about this relationship. But at the same time, the more your relationship is growing, the more uncomfortable your avoidant partner is becoming, because their subconscious fears about love are starting to rise to the surface. And because of that, things start to change in a big way. They start shutting down, they start pulling away, and the relationship starts falling apart. Now, when that happened, you probably started to text more, to ask for reassurance, to say, I miss you. You might have suggested spending more time together, or just asked them if they still cared. And even though you didn't know it at the time, doing that drove them farther away, because it triggered those subconscious fears even more, until finally, one day, out of nowhere, it was like a switch flipped, and they ended it. They said they needed space. They said they didn't feel like a relationship was a good idea for them right now. They said they just wanted to be alone, or they didn't think you were a good fit. And because of that, you felt blindsided, rejected, confused. You even blamed yourself. And as a result, you started looking for signs you missed, researching breakups, stalking your ex on social media, wanting to reach out to them, but stopping yourself. Now, there was a time when you really felt like this was something special. So naturally, you missed them and what you had. And for that reason, one day, you decide to reach out to them. And they reply. And they reply now only because enough time has passed for them to feel like you're no longer angry, you're no longer hurt, and most importantly, you're no longer trying to get them back. But what happens after that is no surprise, because you didn't expect to hear from them, which means you start to feel like maybe they do miss me. Maybe this is the start of a second chance, and now you can't stop thinking about this person. Every message from them feels like an invitation to reconnect, and you find yourself feeling that spark of hope, imagining how it will be, and you end up reaching out more and more to your ex, because this time you know it will be different. And as a result, your avoidant ex starts to feel that emotional pressure creeping back in. And because of that emotional pressure, they pull away once more, they stop all contact, and they shut you completely out of their life. Then the cycle starts all over again, unless something powerful occurs. And that part of an avoidant that craves this connection becomes stronger than the part that fears it. And what that really means is this: the pain of staying emotionally closed off has to become greater than the fear of opening up. Let me rephrase that slightly in case there's any uncertainty. They only change when shutting everyone out hurts more than letting someone in. Now, if you understand this, the rest becomes much easier, and you can quickly begin to see why no contact is the best thing for you and them, because no contact gives your ex the space to feel the consequences of their own emotional distance, and it gives you the space to break the cycle of self-blame and chasing. It's about finally stepping out of the pattern so both of you can face what's really happening without using the other to escape it. Now, we're getting close to something really important here. Some avoidants do reach a point where the value of connection becomes stronger than their fear of it. But studies show attachment styles are relatively stable across adulthood. And what that means is this: they may never become a securely attached person, but they can learn to stay emotionally close to you even when it's uncomfortable. And what that ultimately means to you is this: change doesn't mean their fear disappears completely. It means they stop running from it. And that's what makes a relationship possible. Now, if they've come back and you're wondering if they've really changed, wondering if it's going to be different this time, then here's what you should look for. They don't shut down when you say you're hurt or upset. They admit when they pull away and acknowledge how it affects you. They express affection or care without being asked. They follow through on plans, texts, and calls consistently. They always show up instead of disappearing. They stay present when you ask for more time or closeness or reassurance or affection. And they can have an actual conversation about feelings without their brain hitting the panic button. Now, this might cut a little deep, but I need you to hear it. Some avoidants do change, some never will. But their emotional walls were never yours to tear down. And here's why that matters. Research shows that avoidants are most likely to change when they develop their own insight and motivation, not when you tried to rescue or fix them. So if that's true, then what do you do with this information? Well, if they're in stage 1, then you focus on your own healing. Don't chase or try to convince them. Use this time to reconnect with yourself and stay in no contact. If they're in stage 2, then stay strong and don't get swept up in the breadcrumbs and mixed signals. Take this time to get clear on what you want and what you need in a relationship. And most importantly, watch their actions, not just their words. And if they're in stage 3, potentially coming back to you, then you must set clear boundaries about what you'll accept. Do not abandon your own needs to make them comfortable. And be sure to give them space to show you they've changed through their actions. Now, no matter what stage they are in, remember this: you cannot love someone out of their avoidance. You can offer safety, you can show up with care and compassion, but they have to choose to accept it. Now, I want to make sure this lands gently, but it needs to be heard exactly as it's said. Real change doesn't happen because you made it safe enough. It happens when the pain of being alone and the longing for closeness push them to confront and change their subconscious beliefs about love. Now, I know this is hard. Whether you're hoping they'll come back or you're trying to move on, the uncertainty is exhausting. And if you're struggling with no contact or need a structured plan to get through this, then grab my No Contact Survival Kit. It walks you through the hardest days step by step. And if you want to know the exact moment avoidants start to regret losing you and what triggers that regret, then watch this next video.